The story of Moses is one of the most iconic in the Bible, filled with monumental events and deep spiritual meaning. Yet, there's an often overlooked aspect of his life, the story of his sons, Gershom and Eliezer. Moses is celebrated as the liberator of the Hebrews, the one who challenged Pharaoh, parted the Red Sea, and received the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai. However, his sons seem to have been forgotten in biblical accounts. What happened to them? How is it possible that the descendants of such a significant figure remain shrouded in mystery? Gershom and Eliezer are scarcely mentioned in the Exodus narrative, even though that story shaped the identity of Israel. Their absence prompts us to reflect on their roles in Moses' legacy. Though often seen as secondary characters, their lives carry profound meaning. What were their experiences during the pivotal moments of the Exodus? Why were their stories not given more prominence in the Scriptures? This lack of detail invites us to think about the value of lives that remain in the background. In this video, we'll explore the lives of Gershom and Eliezer, uncovering the layers of meaning behind their experiences and their influence on the biblical narrative. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insights. Moses was born during a time of oppression in Egypt, where the Hebrews were enslaved under Pharaoh's rule. Fearing their growing numbers, Pharaoh decreed that all Hebrew boys should be killed. It was in this dark context that Moses, the son of Amram and Jochebed from the tribe of Levi, was born. From the start, his life was marked by challenges and divine intervention, becoming a journey of liberation and transformation that resonates even today. The descendants of Jacob lived as slaves under a Pharaoh who feared their increasing numbers. The cries of the Israelites rose to heaven as they endured forced labor under harsh conditions. The oppression was so severe that Pharaoh ordered the death of all newborn Hebrew boys, fearing it might threaten his rule. It was in this dark time that Moses was born, the son of Amram and Jochebed, members of the tribe of Levi. To escape death, baby Moses was placed in a basket and set adrift on the Nile, where he was found by Pharaoh's daughter. Raised as an Egyptian prince, Moses enjoyed the wealth and privilege of the royal court, receiving an education that starkly contrasted with the suffering of his people. However, his Hebrew heritage weighed heavily on him. At the age of 40, Moses' life changed when he witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. In anger, he killed the oppressor. Moses was destined to fulfill. The name Gershom, given to Moses' firstborn, means foreigner or sojourner. This choice reflects Moses' emotional state after leaving behind his life of luxury and status in Egypt. Raised as a prince, he became an exile in unfamiliar lands, without a home or fixed identity. The name encapsulates his sense of displacement and connection to the Hebrew people still suffering in Egypt, showing that Moses never forgot his origins. Gershom symbolizes Moses' alienation in Midian and his struggle to find belonging, carrying the weight of being a man caught between two worlds. Despite taking on new responsibilities, Moses couldn't ignore his people's plight. This theme of identity crisis mirrors stories of many biblical heroes. Gershom's life, tied to his father's legacy, reflects the ongoing fight for freedom and the search for purpose. The second son, Eliezer, bears a name meaning, "God is my help." This name conveys Moses' gratitude for divine assistance throughout his exile. Even in hardship, he recognized a higher power guiding and sustaining him. Eliezer's name reflects the spiritual growth Moses experienced in Midian, where the desert's simplicity and solitude offered moments of reflection and self-discovery. Gershom and Eliezer's names are more than labels. They symbolize the profound experiences of Moses. Gershom represents inner conflict and the struggle for identity, while Eliezer signifies faith and reliance on God. Together, they reflect the challenges, lessons, and transformations Moses and his family faced, illustrating that even in trials, there is hope and purpose. Forced to abandon his Egyptian identity and the comfort it provided, Eliezer embodies hope for a better future through trust in God. This acknowledgement of divine intervention is central to Moses' journey, later reflected in his role as the liberator of his people. His time in Midian marks a vital phase of transformation, shaping not only his character, but also the lives of his sons, Gershom and Eliezer, as they grow in an environment defined by exile and simplicity. After years of luxury in Egypt, Moses finds himself displaced, adapting to life as a shepherd in Midian. This humble lifestyle becomes the foundation for his personal and spiritual growth, influencing the development of his family. For 40 years, Moses lives far from Egypt's grandeur, embracing a new reality. This period, marked by guiding flocks and enduring desert challenges, teaches him resilience and leadership while preparing him for his future mission. Shepherding in the solitude of the desert provides Moses with a fresh perspective on leadership and life. Away from the chaos of cities, he learns to observe, listen, and understand his surroundings deeply. These lessons of patience and attentiveness refine his character, aligning him with the role God intended. The silence and reflection of the wilderness also serve as spiritual preparation for the monumental task of leading the Israelites to freedom. Gershom and Eliezer grow up observing their father as a humble leader rather than a prince. Moses' dedication to his work instills in them the values of care, patience, and hard work. The simplicity of desert life teaches the boys important lessons about responsibility and the dignity of labor. Even through the routine of tending sheep, they gain a deeper understanding of resilience and the importance of nurturing life, preparing them for their own roles in a challenging world. Living in exile shaped Moses' leadership style, emphasizing compassion and a connection to creation. However, the separation from his people and Hebrew traditions deeply affected his sons, Gershom and Eliezer. They grew up outside the cultural and spiritual practices of their ancestors, immersed instead in Midianite customs and values. This cultural gap likely made their identities more complex, straddling two worlds with distinct beliefs and practices. Gershom and Eliezer's upbringing was also shaped by their mother, Zipporah. Her courage and faith played vital roles in Moses' life during his transition from an Egyptian prince to a shepherd, and eventually to the liberator of the Hebrew people. Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a Midianite priest, became a cornerstone of Moses' family. Her presence symbolized redemption and stability, particularly as Moses navigated moments of uncertainty and personal growth. Zipporah's role extended beyond the domestic sphere, embodying strength and partnership in Moses' spiritual journey. By marrying her, Moses found not only a companion, but also a stabilizing influence who shared his struggles and triumphs. Together, they raised a family in a foreign land, balancing the complexities of exile with faith. Zipporah's steadfast support allowed Moses to fulfill his divine mission with a sense of grounding. Moses' family's story also connects with the legacy of his sister Miriam. Her influence reveals the strength of their lineage, guided by the teachings of their mother, Jochebed. Miriam's leadership and courage intertwined with the Hebrew people's victories and challenges, reflecting the enduring spirit of their family. This narrative showcases how each member of Moses' life contributed uniquely to the broader story of faith, resilience, and liberation. Miriam, older than Moses, played a crucial role in key moments of his life and the journey of the Israelites. Known for her courage and leadership, her story also includes a fall that led to leprosy, followed by a divine healing that reflected God's mercy. From an early age, Miriam was a strong protector, notably when Moses was placed in a basket on the Nile to escape the Pharaoh's decree to kill all Hebrew boys. Miriam followed the basket until the Pharaoh's daughter discovered it. With wisdom she approached the princess and offered to find a Hebrew nurse, ensuring that Moses' own mother, Jochebed, could care for him. This brave act demonstrated Miriam's ability to protect her brother at a perilous moment, showing her resourcefulness and courage in safeguarding God's plan for Moses. Over time, Miriam became a respected prophetess and leader among the Hebrews, standing alongside Moses and Aaron in the mission to free the Israelites. During the Exodus, she led Hebrew women in dances and songs after crossing the Red Sea, celebrating their victory over the Egyptians. Miriam's song, praising God's deliverance, remains one of the Bible's most powerful expressions of worship and gratitude. However, Miriam's story also includes a moment of challenge. In Numbers 12, she criticizes Moses for marrying a Cushite woman. This moment reveals her vulnerability and humanness, showing that even great leaders can face moments of doubt and tension. Despite this, Miriam's overall legacy is one of faith, leadership, and unwavering commitment to God's plan for the Israelites. Miriam and her brother Aaron's dissatisfaction with Moses' leadership led to a conflict, resulting in a harsh rebuke from God. As a consequence, Miriam was struck with leprosy, isolating her from the community for a period. This event highlights not only the severity of her punishment, but also the family dynamics and Moses' intercession as he prayed to God for her healing, showing deep love and concern for his sister. Despite the conflict, Moses' compassion shines through. He defends Miriam, demonstrating the strength of family bonds, even in times of strife. God's response is swift. Miriam is isolated, but her healing is promised after 7 days. This story also underscores the importance of community and family, with Moses' plea for his sister's restoration emphasizing the role of intercession and love in difficult times. Sephora, Moses' wife, plays a quieter yet significant role in this episode. While not directly involved, her strength as a mother and wife reflects the steadfast faith and commitment of Moses' family to their divine mission. Her support for Moses, especially in his moments of conflict, demonstrates the importance of familial bonds and resilience in times of crisis. Miriam's eventual healing and return symbolize more than just physical restoration. It signifies the renewal of her role as a leader and prophetess among the Hebrews. Her punishment and subsequent redemption serve as a reminder that even those closest to God can falter, yet forgiveness and compassion within families and communities are essential to healing and growth. The divine call Moses receives at the burning bush marks the beginning of a monumental journey to free the Israelites from Egyptian slavery. However, it also brings profound changes to his family dynamic. As Moses is chosen to lead God's people, his life shifts from the pastoral routine in Midian to a mission full of responsibilities, leaving little time for his family. Moses' new mission, though divinely appointed, brings immense emotional and practical challenges. As a mature man now tasked with confronting Pharaoh and leading a suffering people, Moses' role demands full attention. This call, however, means prioritizing his people's liberation over his role as husband and father, leading to separation from his family. The weight of Moses' calling forces him to choose his people over his family. This brings a complex emotional toll, particularly on his relationship with Sephora. As Moses faces the monumental task ahead, Sephora is left to care for their children. Her role becomes more solitary as she supports her husband's mission from afar. Moses' decision to bring his family to Egypt initially stems from a desire to keep them close. However, the rising tensions and dangers force him to send Sephora and their children back to Midian. This choice illustrates the painful separation and the difficult balance Moses must strike between his family and his divine purpose. The gravity of Moses' divine calling leads to emotional struggles. As a father, he faces the pain of leaving his family vulnerable. His sense of guilt and abandonment weighs heavily, questioning whether sacrificing family unity for the greater good of his people's freedom is the right choice. These emotional challenges may affect his leadership, especially in moments of doubt. For Esphora, being left behind with the children is equally burdensome. She must navigate uncertainty and fear, all while maintaining a household in a difficult environment. This forces her to take on a stronger role, ensuring her children are raised with Hebraic values despite their Midianite surroundings. The strain on Esphora is not without hardship, as the uncertainty of Moses' return and potential dangers weigh on her emotionally. One pivotal moment during Moses' journey back to Egypt highlights this tension. While traveling, Moses faces a life-threatening situation where God seeks to kill him, leaving him confused about the cause. Esphora responds swiftly, circumcising their son, Gershom, and touching Moses' feet with the foreskin. This act not only saves Moses' life, but reveals Esphora's quick thinking and deep understanding of the situation. Her strength in the face of crisis underscores her pivotal role in their journey. The act of circumcision, as commanded by God with Abraham, symbolizes covenant and obedience. Esphora's decision to circumcise her son during a critical moment emphasizes the importance of obeying divine law, even when it challenges established norms. Her courage and understanding of the stakes highlight the vital role of women in biblical stories, often overlooked yet essential. Esphora's faith and strength also shaped the upbringing of her sons, Gershom and Eliezer. Raised by a mother deeply committed to God's laws, they absorbed not only the history of their people, but also her wisdom and devotion. Even in a foreign environment, they inherit strong moral values rooted in faith. Esphora serves as a powerful role model for her children, displaying resilience and courage. These traits would influence their lives and the legacy of their father. Her determined response to a crisis likely instilled trust and devotion in her sons, reinforcing their strong foundation in faith and character. The family dynamic of Moses, shaped by both his divine calling and Esphora's strength, is rich and complex. Esphora's actions and faith play a crucial role in preserving Moses' legacy. Through her, the narrative of Moses gains greater depth, showing that his journey was not only his own, but also deeply rooted in the strength of his family. True heroes often work in the shadows, displaying faith and courage during crises. As events unfold, the separation and new family dynamics impact Gershom and Eliezer. Growing up without their father, they struggle to understand their identity and the legacy they've inherited. Their father's absence during key moments of the Exodus leaves them disconnected from both the liberation story and the culture Moses was about to lead. Moses' decision to leave his family for his divine mission reflects the complexities of spiritual leadership. He must balance his duties as a liberator with his role as a father and husband, a challenging task full of moral and emotional dilemmas. This conflict mirrors the struggles of many leaders who face the difficult intersection of their divine calling and personal lives. The separation from Moses is more than physical. It highlights the responsibilities that come with a divine call and the sacrifices inherent in spiritual leadership. The fate of Gershom and Eliezer prompts reflection on the continuation of the lineage and the often overlooked impact these figures had on Israel's history. Their story, though not central, is crucial in understanding the broader scope of Israel's journey. Although the Bible focuses on Moses' achievements, the role of his sons becomes more apparent in 1 Chronicles. This book, dedicated largely to Israel's genealogies, provides insight into Gershom and Eliezer's involvement in Israel's structure. In 1 Chronicles 23:17, we learn about the counting of Moses' sons and their inclusion in the tribe of Levi, highlighting their importance in the larger narrative. The Bible mentions that Moses' sons, Gershom and Eliezer, were counted among the Levites. This confirms the continuation of Moses' lineage and highlights the essential role of his sons in the Levitical genealogy. Although they did not hold prominent leadership positions, they were part of the priestly structure God established for Israel, demonstrating their crucial contribution to the spiritual life of the people. The tribe of Levi, chosen by God to serve in the tabernacle and later in the temple, held a distinct role among the other tribes. They did not receive a land inheritance, but were designated to care for offerings and minister to the Lord. This work involved spiritual responsibilities and fostered a close connection with God's presence, giving great dignity to their lineage. Even without leadership or prominence as prophets, Gershom and Eliezer, as Levites, held spiritual relevance. Though little is known about their lives, their association with the Levite tribe suggests they played important roles within the community of Israel. The appearance of their descendants in the genealogies of Chronicles indicates that, though in the background, their contributions were significant. The inclusion of Gershom and Eliezer in the Levitical lineage teaches us that not everyone called by God for a role in his divine plan needs to be at the forefront. The salvation story is shaped by diverse experiences, and many who serve behind the scenes have equally essential roles. Their names reflect the importance of silent faith and actions that sustain God's mission. Though absent from the central Exodus narratives, Gershom and Eliezer represent those who faithfully continue their parents' spiritual legacy. The Levites were entrusted with preserving the law, passing down God's teachings, and ensuring worship was in line with divine instructions. Their role was vital in shaping Israel's identity, especially during times of crisis. Gershom and Eliezer's descendants were on the front lines of preserving religious traditions, shaping the nation's future. Their absence in the biblical narrative raises questions about family dynamics and priorities in the sacred history. The silence surrounding their lives sparks curiosity about what happened to them and why their stories weren't explored further in the scriptures. The lack of mention of Gershom and Eliezer during pivotal events, like the parting of the Red Sea and the giving of the commandments at Sinai, is striking. This raises questions about where they were during these crucial moments. Were they in Midian with Zipporah, or did they stay in Egypt, distant from Moses and Israel's journey to freedom? Moses' reunion with his children is an emotional and significant moment. It not only celebrates the family reunion, but also reflects the weight of the responsibilities Moses took on as a leader. The absence of his children during his journey highlights the tough choices he made for the sake of a divine mission that impacted not just his life, but his family's as well. After years of separation, Moses reunites with his family after fulfilling the divine call to free the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. This moment marks a turning point not only in the family's life, but also in Israel's history. The first mention of Moses returning to his family occurs after the crossing of the Red Sea, when the people are finally freed from Egyptian oppression. Moses' journey through the desert is filled with challenges, and the presence of his family symbolizes his humanity amidst the divine mission. In this context of liberation, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brings Zipporah and the children to meet him, highlighting the importance of family in Moses' divine call. Though overshadowed by the larger events, the lives of Gershom and Eliezer offer lessons about service and divine calling. Gershom and Eliezer, though often forgotten, illustrate the value of the silent role and behind-the-scenes service. Not everyone is called to shine under the spotlight. Many serve in the shadows, but their work is essential. This teaches us that the value of a life is not in public recognition, but in the faithfulness and commitment to the responsibilities entrusted to us. The lives of Gershom and Eliezer show that everyone has a unique role in God's plan. Although they were not visible leaders, their service in the Levitical lineage was crucial to the continuity of the community. This reality reminds us that we are all called to fulfill an important function, whether in the spotlight or behind the scenes, and our contribution is valuable regardless of visibility. The call of God comes in many forms, not always linked to leadership or visibility. Gershom and Eliezer remind us that even in obscurity, one's contribution can be significant to God's purpose. Often, the humblest acts, those not making headlines, are what uphold the faith and community. This applies to both church life and family, where small acts of love and commitment shape the character and spirituality of future generations. God's call doesn't always bring fame or success, as seen with Moses, who sacrificed his family and personal life in response. His unwavering trust in God's provision became a model for his children. Though Gershom and Eliezer may not have had the same public exposure, they likely continued serving and honoring God in their own ways, demonstrating that faithfulness is key, regardless of recognition. Reflecting on Gershom and Eliezer invites us to value the often overlooked roles in life. Many people, though unrecognized, play vital roles in families, churches, and communities. Parents teaching values, teachers shaping the next generation, and those serving quietly in the church all contribute immensely. Their faithful service, although unseen, is invaluable in God's work. The story of Gershom and Eliezer encourages us to be faithful to our own callings, no matter how small or unnoticed they may seem. Whether it's raising children with integrity, educating others, or serving quietly, these roles are critical. True faithfulness is honoring God's request, even without applause, showing our commitment to his purpose through consistent dedication. Even when we're not in the spotlight, we can still be bearers of light. Let's all reflect on the significance of every role, recognizing the dignity in all forms of service, and staying true to our calling, no matter how small it may seem. In God's grand plan, even the quietest among us can leave an indelible mark on divine history. Now, share with us any experiences you've had that relate to this story. Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Hugs, and may God bless you.